Okay, everybody, it's time to start. We just reached the top of the hour, so it's time to begin our get-together session. My name is Jose Velasco. Before we begin, could you please type very quickly in the comment box a quick yes, a quick hello. So that would be my confirmation for me to know that you hear my voice and therefore technology is on our side. Please go ahead and do that. That way we'll be able to start. Thank you so much, guys. Just gonna wait a couple of seconds here to get this confirmation from you, and that's it. We'll be on our way. Good, perfect. Okay, so everybody, let's begin our day. It's a pleasure to do our get-together session today. Is the first one of the week, so welcome to the session. Get together for short term today. Today is the 22nd of January 2019. As I said, my name is Jose Velasco, and before we begin, quick disclaimer, let's go for it. The following videos, clips, and demonstrations are for educational and instructional purposes only. Traditive provides these videos purely demonstrating a method of using the product. Users understand that all the content using the video is purely for demonstration purposes only and is not a guide and does not provide any indication or prediction of actual results. As a user, you understand and agree that hypothetical results obtained through the demonstration do not indicate in any way the results you may receive on using our products. Here we go. So we talked about the disclaimer. Here is a TradeStation with the UFOs ready to attack in the marketplace. Before we do so, and also to give a little extra time to more users to join us, I want to remind you of a few things that are very, very important. It's going to take a couple of minutes, and then we begin. It's good to see you all, my friends. Mario, how are you? Simone, Milan, all of you guys, a pleasure to see you. So here we go. So our website, www.tradewithufos.com. Let me share this on the main screen so you can make a note in a way that is more convenient for you guys. So why is this website important? Well, it's important because it's our website, but I'm not saying it just because of that reason. I am saying it because one of the sections you will find in this website is the Get Together button here on the upper left. And this is important because today we are together, but it's also important for you to plan for the following sessions that will happen later in time. And in this section, you have a full calendar during the following days, the following weeks, okay? So it's important for you to take a look so you are familiar with this. Probably you are, but if you're watching this recorded, just keep this in mind, okay? And if you're watching this recorded and you want to attend live, just fill in the form at the bottom, and we will be sending you customized links for you to be able to connect with us. The reason why I'm pointing at our website is because we have a very important section here with the guide. If you are a user of our app, probably you have looked at the guide already. If you are not a user of the app, or you have not had the time to look at the guide, well, you probably heard me say before that we strongly recommend you to take a look at the guide, okay? Now, nowadays, everything around us is more and more user-friendly, so many times we get into the habit of using tools without looking at the manual, right? Could make sense with certain things, but when it comes to trading and investing, remember, mistakes cost money. So it's highly recommended that you either download the 9.5 version of the app or the 10.0 version of the manual for our app for TradeStation 9.5 or 10. Okay, so now reading manuals is not for you, or even as an extra reinforcement, or just because you happen to be very busy, well, then in the bottom section of this webpage, there are a collection of YouTube videos that basically go over what the manual presents, but it's a little more entertaining to watch. And if you watch it all together, it's going to be like a little less than an hour, I believe, and you would be in a much better position to use the app efficiently. Okay, cool. What else? Facebook. So we have a page on Facebook. I'm just going to copy the URL here for you guys to have. The page that we have on Facebook, it's very important for you to be familiar with. Okay, why? Because many times we will communicate with you through this page, either the Facebook page or also the LinkedIn page, okay? Because the same content you will find on the Facebook page will also be found on the LinkedIn page, okay? So maybe you have a preference and you like LinkedIn better than Facebook, so then it's okay. But just make sure you connect with our pages and click on the join or following or like button, whatever you feel more comfortable with. Because again, reason number one, we will share many information related to the company and the product and trading and the markets. And if you are connected with those pages, you get the information real time. It's probably even more convenient than using email, isn't it? Also, the other reason why it's important is that because we are posting trade examples from our users in a regular basis here. Well, nice coincidence. Milan is with us, and this is the last trade that we have posted that actually belongs to you, Milan. So good job there. Very good trade. We loved. Okay, I personally love very much when we read, your comment, one and done for the day at the market open. Okay, so that a way to look at this is efficiency. Okay, and this is business. Trading is business, so efficiency is obviously welcome. It's important for you guys, if you haven't been using the app for too long, or you haven't started using the app yet. It's important for you guys to look at those sections, because many of our users will be posting trade examples. Okay, we have Chuck Phillips here, another very experienced trader using the app. So multiple examples will be posted here, and these could serve you as ideas on how to improve your trading in case you're still building your own trading plan. Okay, what else? One more. How to get access to the app in case you don't have the app yet. Okay, well, if you don't have access to the app yet, you basically have two ways to get access to the app. The normal way would be to get into the TradeStation App Store, which I have in front of us. You would just type on the search box UFOs. Okay, UFOs. Click on the green button for search, and next thing you know, magic, you will have a direct link to the app, AutoUFOs, and you can either activate your free trial or subscribe for a long-term use of the app. Okay. The other way to get access to kind of the same place, it's from our website. You just click subscribe. Okay, and here is a little more complete, if you wish, because it also works for the traders with us today, traders that you may not have a TradeStation account yet. Okay, if you don't have a TradeStation account yet, well, you also have links here on how to get access to TradeStation. Actually, there are two versions of TradeStation you can activate here. One is the full execution version of TradeStation, okay, where you have no software fees and free market data. There are certain exceptions, so you want to make sure that you talk to TradeStation as well, because certain markets, they may charge you, but for the majority of markets, data is free and there is no software fees. And you can have TradeStation, and you can either use TradeStation for the analysis with the UFOs and execute using another broker, which is classical or typical in Forex. Okay, maybe you use, interactive brokers to execute your Forex trades, but you chart and you do your analysis with TradeStation. Okay, that could be one way to do it. Or if you trade markets tradable through TradeStation, you can do the whole thing with TradeStation without having to use another broker or another software, okay? Or another possibility is that you are not interested in having an account with TradeStation, you just want what TradeStation called TradeStation Analytics, which is only the software, okay? Well, this is a little pricier because TradeStation would charge $249 a month, but now you don't have a trading account, you only have TradeStation software. So it's two options for you to select, depending on what are your needs, okay? And of course, the moment you have TradeStation Analytics, or the full TradeStation execution version, so then you just click in here, and clicking in here will bring you to the App Store, where you can subscribe to the app, free trial or subscribe, as I said before. Anyway, so done with the getting organized, okay? And now it's time to trade, okay? So let's move now into TradeStation. and let's start planning on our trades. Okay. How is everybody going? Guys, as I begin the session, I would really welcome if you guys would like to share on the comments box how is it going out there? You know, some of you have been using the app for a while. Some of you are not using the app yet. Some of you are in trial. Some of you are experienced with the app already. So it's a little bit of a mix of traders here with us connected today. But in any case, whoever you are and wherever you are in your trading, it would be great if you were to share in the comments box a little bit more about you. You're happy with your trading. You're not happy with the trading. You're happy with the app. You're not happy with the app. You know, remember, whatever you type, I will be the only one to see it. And if it's appropriate, then I will share it in the main screen. But if you don't want me to share it, and you know, it's still important for us that you report and you give us that feedback. So reporting back to us, how is it going? It's important so we can support you better. Okay, we may end up doing more get-together sessions. We may end up doing, you know, more support for options. We may end up doing more trend line breakouts. You know, we may end up doing whatever you guys need. Okay, so very happy to support you. But it's important that we are well connected and we communicate properly. Okay, guys. So. Please do not be shy and comment anytime during the session today. Just comment and let us know how is it going, okay? Cool. So today we're doing short-term, and therefore I'm going to be planning on trades using short-term time frames. Here in TradeStation, as you can see on the bottom part of the screen, I got two workspaces that I'm going to use today, UFOs EMA Lab and UFOs FIbo Lab. The FIbo Lab is a workspace that, if you wish, I have designed to combine the AutoUFOs with all sort of Fibonacci approaches on how to trade. And the EMA Lab is a workspace I have constructed to combine the AutoUFOs with any approach on how to use exponential moving averages or moving averages in general. Okay, so let's get organized in that sense, because today I would like to plan a few trades and hopefully we can get the execution. So everybody ready to click that button. If you want to use paper money, that's great. If you want to use real money, it's also very good. So you will decide that if you want real money, paper money, but just know that my intention is to identify certain market opportunities and I will put the trades in the system. Okay, so why not doing it together? Okay, obviously that's going to be your final decision, but just know that's my intention. Okay, today is not a sharpening day where we work on the theory aspect. Today is a trading day. Today is a get together for short-term trading, and therefore the idea is to you know, execute some trades together, or at least put together a couple of plans. Okay. Very good, Rajiv. I see your comment. Look, I'm gonna share with you all on the main screen our email address. And what I would like to ask you, Rajiv, if that's okay, is that you send us an email. Just copy and paste your text and send it to that email, if that's okay. And also add to your text, Rajiv, which are the markets that you would like to trade. Okay, do you trade futures? Do you trade Forex? Do you want to trade Canadian stocks? Do you want to trade US stocks? Because we will provide you a solution for Canada. Okay, but make sure, if that's okay, to send an email, because it would be a detailed one, and I think it's better that we take your need via email in this case. Okay. Good, perfect. So so here we go. So let's begin here. We have the S&P 500 in front of us, symbol ESH19, 2-minute time frame on the top, same market, 15-minute time frame in the bottom. In the bottom, we have a moving average. On the top, we have the AutoUFOs. Okay, so what are we gonna try to do? Well, we're gonna look for market opportunities where the moving average is lining up with some UFO where the rival UFO is far enough, so we have room for profit, and the trend is likely to continue expanding because there is nothing to stop it. And therefore, we will rely on a trend movement set by a moving average, where our entry would be the auto UFOs, as long as the auto UFOs are lining up with the average. Why? Because both the EMA or the FIBs, which I'm going to use later, both of those tools, we will look at them as tools that provide potential for new on-field orders to enter the market after you enter. Let me rephrase that. The auto UFOs, okay, our little flying saucers here, they represent on-field orders that are in the market already. What we're going to do is to combine those on-field orders that are in the market already. We're going to combine them with moving averages or FIBs, because the FIBs or the moving averages may, okay, based on probabilities, they may imply new orders entering the market after you enter the market. In other words, more on-field orders entering the market after you enter the market, on top of the on-field orders that are already in the market identified by the app. In other words, we are stacking odds in our favor by looking at different elements, different tools. And on top of that, we want to do it in a fashion where everything we do, every action we do is rule-based. Therefore, we put the human emotions on the side, and everything we do will be following a process where every action is black or white. There is no in-betweens or subjectivity. That's the idea, okay? So most of the sessions where we did get together, I've been exploiting this concept, and most of the sessions where we have done get together for short term, I've been using trades combined with the moving average. Okay, so today, just to create a little variation, to give you little feels and little different possibilities. Okay, so what I'm going to do today is I'm going to start with the Fibonacci, the FIBs workspace, and apply this concept to the FIBs. Okay, so I'm going to use the same time frames I used before. I was using the 15 and the 2, so I'm going to start with the 15. And what I would like to do in this time frame is to draw. I'm going to start with this button here, the Fibonacci price retracement lines. Okay, you can find it here in TradeStation. You can also go to drawing Fibonacci tools, and you have the price retracement lines. Okay, so it's right here. Okay. So I'm going to use this tool where, I'm just going to click randomly here just for you to see it. You may have seen it before. You click above, you click below, and automatically it's giving you Fibonacci ratios, which is 23.6, 38.2, 50, 61.8, 78.6, 88.6, and then the 100. Okay, this is how I have set up my FIBs. Okay, I'm going to give you the opportunity to take a screenshot in case you want to do that. So you have the ratios. You can set this as default by checking the bottom box here, set as default. Okay, so this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to apply those ratios. Now, when applying those ratios, which I'm going to combine with the auto UFOs, when applying those ratios, I want to do it. Okay, I want to do it in a way that is objective. I don't want subjectivity. Does that make sense? And in order to do that, I'm going to have to pick the very, very obvious highs, the very, very obvious lows, the very obvious highs and lows. I'm not going to go for, any sort of a movement where I'm looking at a little bit of a something here, a little bit of a something here, and next thing you know, I'm feeling like, okay, maybe I'm going to draw Fibonacci's here, right? So I want to go for those clear highs and lows where there is no doubt that no matter who we are here in the room, if we were to draw those price retracement lines, all of us will come up with the same lines. Okay, so for example, if you look at this movement to the downside, I'm pretty positive we agree it starts here and it ends there. Okay, that's it. So that would be the way on how we draw the lines. Okay, but I don't want to do it only to the downside. I also want to do it to the upside. Okay, so I want to do it to the upside. So if you think about it, this movement is going down. So if I go from the peak on the top to the top in the bottom, to the bottom in well, I was going to repeat myself, the bottom in the bottom, that would be the way my lines would be drawn. Okay, and then if I was to do a Fibonacci calculation to the upside, then I would draw from this bottom going to this top like that, because I think we all agree that this bottom is very obvious and this top is very obvious. Okay, so everything in between, I will ignore all those vibrations. I just go for the very, very, very key ones. Okay, if some of you kind of feel like, oh, you know what, I kind of understand what Jose is doing, but I'm still a little confused, you know, it's a little too subjective, you can make it a little simpler by simply changing the style of your chart, and you can just go for line. And if you go for line, I'm pretty positive that this one here would be seen by everybody as the bottom, and this one here would be seen by everybody as the top. And if this is the bottom and this is the top, okay, if this is the bottom and this is the top, and now, of course, you reactivate format symbol, you reactivate the candlestick, right? Because the candlestick shows you the wicks, and therefore the high, the low, the open, and the close. Now, you know where I got the vertical lines. I guess we all understand that, you know, around this place you have this high, around this place you have this low, and those are the highs and the lows that I have used. And you know, as long as you go for the obvious moves and the obvious tops and the obvious bottoms, normally you will not need to change the style of your chart. And you know, if we were to do it in different computers and then we were to compare what we're doing, we would very, very likely all end up with the same location for the lines. Okay, so that's the idea, because again, we don't want to do anything that is subjective, because that would be the recipe for problems. Okay, now this is what I have done when it comes to the Fibonacci retracement lines. Okay, again, remember, take a look. The name of this tool that comes with translation is called Fibonacci price retracement lines. That's how it's called. So I'm doing retracements. There are more things you could do with Fibs. You can also do projections. You can also do time cycles. You can do a million things with Fibs. Okay, so I want to add. Okay, we did retracements to the downside, retracements to the upside. Now I would like to do the same, projections to the upside and projections to the downside. Okay, so let me erase all of this. So I will do the projections. Okay, so you see what this is. So for example, what is a projection? Well, a projection is kind of like an ABC type of pattern. Okay, it's like an ABC pattern. So for the retracements, you need 2 points, the obvious low and the obvious high. Okay, that's what you need. For the projections, okay, Fibonacci tool, and I go for actually I call it projections, but in translation is called like if I do extensions. Okay, well now you're gonna need 3. If I was to pick this obvious high and this obvious low and this obvious high, okay, so this is projecting, okay, where the market may go. So 113.91, it's 100% projection, and then the golden ratio 161.8, it's the next projection. Okay, so you could add those 2 guys to the calculation. Okay, you can add those 2 guys to the calculation. So this would be going down. Okay, so the top, the bottom, and the top. Okay, high, low, high. Okay, to the upside, it doesn't make sense to do it. We could certainly do it, but it's going to be outside the range. Okay, so if you were to do it to the upside, what you would do is you pick the bottom. Okay, you pick the bottom, you pick the top, and you pick the bottom. Okay, and then it's going to give you, let me put this one in the right place because I was not precise enough. Here we go. Now I got it. Okay, so you have the bottom, the top, and the bottom, right? And then it's doing the projection. Okay, so when you want to project to the upside, you start from the bottom. When you want to project to the downside, you start from the top. And now, if you think about it, I have Fibonacci projections above and below the price. And I'm going to add a few more lines, not to drive you crazy. I'm going to simplify all of this in a minute. Okay, right now I'm just having you understand what I'm doing. So now, if I was to do what I did before, which is do the retracements from the top to the bottom, and do the retracements from the bottom to the top, well, now you're probably looking at the chart and you are thinking, oh my God, where do I start now? Okay, and you would be right if you think like that, because now it's too messy. There is too many things on your screen. But here's the good news. Now I move to the 2-minute time frame. I was doing the 15, so now I'm going to move to the 2-minute time frame. If I move to the 2-minute time frame, of course, now my lines are widening. Okay, why are they widening? Well, because you don't know, 2-minute time frame gives you more resolution, isn't it? And now I will activate the UFOs. And notice that now, out of all this mess, the only thing that matters is the UFO. And not only it matters because it's a UFO, and obviously because it's a UFO is relevant, on top of that, it matters because this UFO is lining up with one of those lines. So in a perfect world, and you may want to make this a rule, in a perfect world, what you would want to do is to only trade, if you choose to use those FIBs, right? To only trade if you were to have UFOs and you have multiple FIBs lining up. For example, in this case right here, if you look carefully, you will notice that there are two lines. Or in this case, those two lines are very close. So if I had a UFO around those two lines, I would be much more happy. Why? Because not only I would have the probability on my side, because the on-field orders were likely to move the market for me, but on top of that, I got not only one set of computers trading the 50% FIB, but another set of computers trading the 61.8 FIB that may inject new on-field orders in the market after I got in, thanks to my AutoUFO on-field orders. Is that making sense, everyone? So let me pause, rewind. I see a few questions on the comments box as well. So I'm going to take those questions. I'm going to pause, rewind, start again. Instead of using the euros I'm using here, I'm going to use the S&P or the NASDAQ, and we're going to put a trade in place. Three minutes later, the market will open, so hopefully we can get an execution here, okay? I have a question from Mario. Let me bring the question to the main screen. Mario says, Jose, in a 15-minute chart, how much should we go backwards as assessing high and lows? It doesn't matter how much you go back in time, Mario. You just go back in time. The first high, which is obvious, and the first low that is obvious. And of course, if the market was moving kind of flat or was moving up for a long time or moving down for a long time, you may have to go left, for a while until you find that high or that low. If the market has been range bound and kind of boring, then you will have highs and lows very close to the right side of your chart, and you will not have to go too much to the left. But really, it doesn't matter. You are just looking for the obvious highs and the obvious lows, okay? And then you do your retracements and your projections. Yep, I got it. So let's do this, okay? Let's go ahead now and change chart. Okay, so back to the 15-minute time frame, and now I'm going to apply this to the S&P 500 futures. So I am loading. Okay, I am loading the S&P 500 futures. For my FIBs, I don't need the UFOs, okay? So I'm just going to deactivate that, okay? And we're going to begin the process looking at, well, let's do the projections first, okay? So drawing, well, actually I got the projections right here. This is the icon for Fibonacci price extension lines. I like to call it projections. The TradeStation call it extensions. It's the same thing. So remember, to project to the upside, you need to start looking for the bottom. So you got bottom to the top to the bottom, okay? And then if you're going to project to the downside, you need to start with the top. So you have top to the bottom to the top, okay? And now I got my projections above okay? I got my projections above and below, as you can see. Okay, let me do this. Many orders are kicking into the market, and therefore I got much more activities. The matrix are using a lot of the computer power in TradeStation, and also because I'm sharing my screen, I am noticing my computer for whatever reason to go a little slower. So let me deactivate. Let me deactivate the UFOs here. And also when it comes to the matrix, here we go. I want to use a symbol which does not exist. So hopefully it frees up a little bit of my computer power. Because again, share uses a lot of my CPU. Since we are streaming this live, not only via iZone, but also Facebook and YouTube. So anyway, so here is my projection above, projections below. Sorry, I'm going to look at the obvious low and the obvious high, right? From here to here. And then the obvious high to the low, right? And I got it. So I got everything I needed on my screen. I have it, which looks a little bit of a mess. But remember, we don't need to be too concerned about that. I'm just going to move to the 2-minute time frame now. And now that I am in the 2-minute time frame, I will activate my UFOs. Okay, well, have a little problem. Okay, the little problem I have is that my UFOs are out of range. Okay, in other words, in this range that has been happening in the 15-minute time frame, and if you think about it, right, and if I was to activate the feature, which I will not do it, but I will point at it. If I was to activate the feature of the UFOs with the hide heat UFOs, I was to make it false, you would see that most of the UFOs in this range of fibs, most of those UFOs have been traded already. And because they have been traded already, there are no unfilled orders left, or very few. And therefore, the AutoUFOs, it's not showing any UFOs in the range. Okay, so what does that mean? Well, I was planning to use the 2 and the 15. Okay, but because this range in the 15 is so narrow, then I cannot do that. So I'm going to have to go for a larger time frame to look at obvious highs and obvious lows in a larger time frame. So I'm going to move to the 4-hour time frame. Okay, so I'm going to use 4 hours and 15 minutes instead of 15 minutes and 2 minutes. Okay, so I'm making everything of a bigger size now. Let me delete everything, and we're going to start the process again. Okay. Okay, here we go. So what do we have? Again, we are looking for the obvious highs and the obvious lows. Okay, and these are the typical markets that are a little more complex. Okay, when they are pushing clearly high, because now some of you may say that's a high, some of you may say no, that's too low to be a high. So whenever you're in doubt, okay, you may want to do what I did before. So double click on the candles to get format symbol. Yes, Mario, I see your comment. I'm going to do it again. So you would come in here, select line and close. Okay, and now it's going to be a little easier to see those obvious highs and obvious lows, isn't it? So we have one around here, which I believe is obvious. We have one around here, right? We have one here, okay, and then here. Okay, I believe those are quite obvious. Okay, then if I go a little further, we have this one, and then we have that one. Okay, so those are kind of the obvious. Okay, now of course remember the lines the line charts are only showing you the closing price, and that's not enough. We need the high, the low, the open, and the close. So we're gonna go for candlestick, and the moment we do that, we may have to readjust a little bit the location of our lines, okay? So our low is actually here. That's the low. The high was correct. The high here, it's actually 2 candles to the right. The low here is good. The high here is actually this candle here, okay? And the low is that candle there, okay? So now I'm pointing at those clear price points, okay, that are gonna be useful to draw my fibs, okay? So let's begin with the projections, okay? So pay attention to this video, Fibonacci tools, okay? You can get it here from extension lines, okay? And the moment you have it, remember, let's begin the projections to the upside first. Projection to the upsides implies starting with the low. So you need the low, the high, and the low, okay? So this is a low, this is a high, this is the low. So I'm gonna start with from here. So click on the low, go for the high, and then go for the next low. Okay? So you have a, a price point here that could be an important number to take a trade, just like this one here, because of, computers using these techniques. If you were to project to the downside, you will start from the high, and you will do high, low, high. Okay? So high, low, and high. Right? And by doing that, we ended up with those 2 projections in that particular location. Okay? Then I'm going to do the same thing with my retracement lines. I'm going to go from the low to the high. Okay? From low to the high. Okay? And then from the high to the current price. Okay? Because I'm going to be trading in that area. Right? And I did 2 projections, 2 retracements, projection to the upside, projection to the downside, retracement to the upside, retracement to the downside. And now what? Well, now I'm going to move to my 15-minute time frame. And the moment I move to my 15-minute time frame, I'm going to activate my UFOs and see what happens. So what do we have? Well, we have a UFO here, okay, which is not lining up with anything. Okay, it has a retracement line here, very, very close, but not exactly lining up. Okay, not exactly lining up. Okay, so let me go ahead and click on hold. So the top price and the bottom price, so it's 67.25. So 67.25 is the bottom part of this rectangle. Okay, where the line is 66.77. So basically the line is 2 ticks below. So the line is not lining up with the UFO. So even though we have a UFO, and it could certainly work, the fact is that it would have a higher probability of working if it was lining up with one of the fib lines. Okay, but it's not. Then we have a green UFO here. Okay, we have a green UFO here, which is not lining up with anything either. And there is a projection line right there, 26.48. But the bottom part of this green rectangle is 49, 26.49. So the projection is 1 point below. So it doesn't seem that the 2 UFOs closer to price are, qualify as a valid trading opportunity. Okay. What about the next one? Same story. That UFO is in the middle of nowhere. From a Fibonacci point of view, it's not coinciding with anything. What about this one? Same story. What about that one? Now we got something here. We got this UFO lining up with this Fibonacci retracement line, and now we have a collection of 2 UFOs overlapping each other with another Fibonacci line very close by. Okay, so in other words, out of all those UFOs, the 2 trades that would imply a higher probability opportunity are the two green UFOs from the bottom part, which is this one below and this one below. Okay, and current price it's 53. This UFO is 17, so we need to drop like 40 points, or a little less than 40 points to get there. Okay, so maybe we come back here and we revisit this trade as the market opens. Well, the market already opened, but let's see if the market creates a little bit of speed of movement, and if it starts going down, we'll go take a look and maybe we have a trade. Okay, at the moment we don't. So what are we gonna do? Simple, change to the NASDAQ. So NQH19, and I'm gonna do the same thing I was planning to do with the S&P, but I'm gonna do with the NQ. So what is the first thing that we're gonna do? Look at the obvious lows and highs, okay? Look at the very obvious lows and highs. I'll do 15-minute time frame, 2-minute time frame, and if it doesn't work, I'll go for the 240-minute time frame, 50-minute time frame. I'll follow the same sequence, okay? So let's go for it. Double click on the candles. Yes, Mario, very, very good question when it comes to the calibration. So in the session, since everybody's different and preferences are different as well, I'm just using the standard parameter 0.5. You could certainly use a different parameters and it would be just as fine, okay? But in my case, I will use the basic parameter, okay? Good. So let's look at obvious highs and lows. So this is an obvious high. This is an obvious low. This is an obvious high. This is an obvious low. Okay. And that's the high. Okay. So the moment I have done that, double click on the line. This is the same as right click format symbol. It's just a little bit of a shortcut. Select candlesticks. And now I will want to adjust my lines a little bit. Okay, so the obvious high is here. The low would be here. The high right there. The low, I believe, is correct. Yes. And then the high would be here. Got it. So what do we do now? Same story. So we do the projections to the upside. To do projections to the upside, I need low, high, low. So low, high, and low. So I have the projections to the upside. Projections to the downside, I need the high, the low, and the high. So high, the low. Oh, sorry, I just clicked on the wrong button. The high, the low, and high. Okay, so just as before, I have above and below, isn't it? And now I'm gonna go for the retracements. So same story. I'm gonna look for the movement to the upside from here to here. And I'm gonna look for the movement to the downside, which is from here to here. Okay, I may end up with a similar scenario compared to before, because we saw in the 2-minute time frame that most of the UFOs were traded already. So I'm not sure if we're gonna have a tradable opportunity here. Okay, but it'll be worth it to check by activating the UFOs. And yeah, just like before, in this case, the UFOs are outside the range. Why? Because this thing has been trading sideways for a long time. So in this range, there's no unfilled orders left. All the orders got filled. Okay, and you know, therefore there is no trading opportunity in this time frame. Okay, which tomorrow may be different. Okay, so what do you do when that's the case? We will not force a trade. We will now go ahead and use a different set of time frames. I'm going to look at the 240-minute time frame, and then we'll look at the 15. Okay, so just like before, let me erase everything. Okay, here we go. So same story. Double click on the candles. And again, this process could be quite fast, okay? I'm doing it slowly to be able to give me time to give you the rationale, okay? So this is the high, this is the low, this is the high, this is the low, this is the high, and this is the low, right? So double click on the line, changing it to candlesticks. How is it going out there, guys? Can you just give me a quick okay if everything is okay, just to get a little feedback from you guys. You've been quiet for a little bit of time here, and we'll make sure that we are still connected. Technology is going well and everything. The sound, everything. So I'm just readjusting my lines, and I have it. Good. So what do I do now? Same story. Projections and retracements. So to do projections, I do the low, the high, and the low. So the low, the high, and the low. And then I will do the high, the low, and the high. So the high, the low, and the high, right? And now I got my projections. Thank you, guys. Then I'm going to do my retracements from here to here, moving to the upside, from low to high, and then from high towards the current price movement. Okay, and now that's when I end up with that situation where it's like, you know, a little bit of a mess, right? Too much information in my script. Now we drop to the 15-minute time frame. Okay, it's a little neater now. And now, most importantly, that's the key, we now activate the UFOs, right? And what do we have if we activate the UFOs? Well, we have something relevant here. A second. Here. Now it's precise. Well, we have a very interesting setup here, guys. Actually, the NASDAQ is giving us multiple very interesting setups. Notice how, first of all, this green UFO is not lining up with anything. This green UFO is not lining up with anything. Okay, so there are unfilled orders. We may get bounces, but you know the fee in the middle, in between UFOs, right? So you can ignore that. On the top, you have two UFOs overlapping each other with 1, 2, and 3 of the Fibonacci lines coinciding with a UFO. Well, this, my friends, increases your probabilities. Okay, I think it's just common sense. We talked about it. And you guys will see it, isn't it? Yeah. Mark, I'm reading your question now as well. Got it. Perfect. Good to see you, RPAD, as well. Good. So now what else? So these red UFOs, okay, are going to be you know, something for us to use. Okay, so we're gonna plan a trade out of those red UFOs. But apart, I just clicked in the wrong place. I'm using the snapping mode, and I just clicked on the circle, and I just moved the circle. Anyway, and below those two green UFOs, as I was saying, are less relevant in the sense of they are unfilled orders, but we may not have additional unfilled orders kicking in. So what would you do? You would ignore those UFOs and go for the next one. And when you go for the next one, what happens? Well, now you have a fib lining up with that UFO. Okay, so that one also would be valid and would qualify as a trading opportunity, just like the one below. Okay, that one below as well has a fib going through the green UFO. Okay, and therefore this one would also qualify as a trade. Okay, so let's go ahead, and now that we know that we care about some of the UFOs, but not all of them. Okay, so we care about, you know, this UFO here. Oh, give me a sec. I got my. Yeah, sorry guys. I just wanted to use the arrow. So we care about this UFO here. Okay, this one we care about, the one with the white arrow. We care about this UFO here. Okay, the one with the white arrow again. okay, and we care about those two that because they're overlapping each other, we will treat them like one, even though they're two, the one with the white arrow. Okay, and now you can go ahead, okay, and be ready, guys. I'm gonna delete all the fibs, okay, after doing all this mess. That's it, everything is gone. And now, well, actually, I went too quick there because I also deleted my arrows, right? So let me replace them very quickly. So those three UFOs, the red one and the green ones, those will be the UFOs that we're gonna use to plan a trade. Okay, guys. So that will be the plan for now. Okay. So let's plan on the trade. Okay, and it seems that the NASDAQ is falling. Okay, so hopefully we'll reach this UFO. So let's go ahead and plan a trade for this market. Okay. So if the NASDAQ ever comes to this green UFO, we will want to enter long at this particular price. Okay, now here you have two choices. Use 6692.00, which is where you have the greatest concentration of orders, okay, which is, change color, okay, which is the dark circle. Okay, the dark circle was where you have the greatest concentration of unfilled orders based on the algo, which is 6692, as you can see on the right. So the app is telling you is 6692. So enter long at this price. Okay, that's one possibility. But sometimes, okay, you also saw there was a fib in the middle, so you may not get all the way to the circle. So just to avoid missing the trade, I'm just going to use the top of the rectangle, which is 95.5. Okay, so 95.5 will be the entry to avoid missing on the entry. Okay, guys, if you were to use 92, it's fine. And then we will plan to be stopped out at, okay, in case it keeps dropping instead of moving our way, instead of this thing keeps dropping. So 6684.25, it's the bottom part of the rectangle. You can see here 6684.25 end price. You see that? So we are just gonna place our stop one tick below. Okay, so 6684.00. Okay, that's gonna be the entry and the stop. Okay, and then what else? Well, then if we're right and this comes here and turns and starts moving up, we're gonna plan to take profit all the way to where those red UFOs are. Okay, that's gonna be the plan. Now, because we know we got UFOs in between, and because we know we also have fibs in between, it would be recommended to take partial profits somewhere in the middle, just to not to be too greedy, expecting it to go all the way to the red, which it is likely to. It may get there. It should at some point, but what if before getting there it has to vibrate too much or whatever, and you end up getting out of the trade for a small profit just because you didn't have the patience to stay all the way. So one way to remove patience out of the equation and relax your mindset when you trade is to take partial. For I'm going to set what I'm going to call a safety target. Okay, so this is going to be final target. We'll set it in a minute, okay? But before we get to the final target, we will set a safety target somewhere in between, which that one is not going to be calculated or set based on, be based purely on risk management. And risk management, what I mean by that is that, let me grab a calculator. Yep. See you soon, Rajiv. So risk management means that if your entry is 6695.5 and your stop is 6684, that means that you are risking 11.5 points per contract. So if I was going to take my profit with half of my position, 11.5 points, 11.5 points higher, 95.5, which is 6707, right? So 6695.5 plus 11.5, that's 6707. If I was to take my profit at that place, right, which is like that, 6707.00, and then it was not to reach my final target. Okay, it was not to reach my final target, and it was to stop me out. But I have already taken half of the profits with half of the size. Well, then, basically what I'm saying is that then you cannot lose. You are in a risk-free trade, and then probably that would relax your mindset, which is what I was talking about. Okay, so this is gonna be the first plan that I'm gonna put in place for the NASDAQ. Okay, so we're gonna have safety target 6707.00. Okay, and then the final target is gonna be this UFO, which has the greatest quantity of unfilled orders located at 6754.5. So that's what I'm going to use. Okay, I'm going to be a little optimistic with my target because I am in a risk-free trade. So, instead of taking profits where the dotted line is in the rectangle, I'm going to take profits where the dark circle, where the flying saucer is, if you wish. Okay, the inside part of the flying saucer. That's the idea. Okay, so that will be the plan. Okay, and if you have any question about this plan, it would be good that you type it. Okay, so I can understand your thinking and I can support you with answers. Okay, I'm gonna place the order in the system, and immediately what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna plan on the short as well, and then we'll place the short order in the system as well. And we have very few minutes for the session to be concluded, so we'll see if we get filled before that, but we'll be ready for it. Okay, so let me change my matrix because I'm looking at the S&P here. So I'm going to change symbol to NQH19. So I got the matrix, and I'm going to use 2 contracts because, of course, I got 2 targets. So I need at least 2 contracts. If you could certainly use more contracts, but I'm going to go with 2. My entry is 6695.5. I'm going to attach an exit with 2 limits, 1 stop. So that's 2 targets and 1 stop. So I'm going to move to 6695.5 right here. Click. And now the first thing I want to adjust is my stop. 6684. That's going to be my stop. A little lower. 6684. I think I said 94. I meant 84. So this is going to be the location for the stop. Okay, 6684. And then target 2 is said 6754. So let's go up. Yeah. Actually, it's way simpler to change it, without using the matrix in this case, because using a 15-minute time frame, really, these trades, have a pretty powerful room to go, right? So you have to drag the screen, and it's a little uncomfortable. I could certainly use other methods on how to change it. Okay, so let me do that. I'm just gonna go ahead and use my trade manager. So I give you another way to understand order placement. So I want my target. This screen is not showing me the prices I want. Okay, so let's do this. Let me make it simpler. I'm going to activate chart trading. So right click, chart trading. And this will allow me to grab the line and move it to where I want it to be. So I can adjust my target more easily this way, okay? Here we go. So I'm gonna disable chart trading. Back to the matrix here. $67 we go. So I wanted 54.5. Now I can be more precise. Here we go. Okay, just saved a little bit of scrolling just to try to be a little visual for you, as well as giving you the opportunity to see that there is something called chart trading, which is very convenient at times. Okay, and then I'm moving my safety target. I'm going to move it to 67.07. That one is less far. So I'm just going to do it manually like this. Okay. Sometimes I like to do things manually, so it's a little more visual for you as you're observing the process. Okay, so here we go. So we got it. Okay, good news. The green UFO we had here 15 minutes ago is gone, which means that the majority of orders got filled. This created a nice bounce. Okay, as expected. Now, if the price keeps dropping, really there is room for price to drop to our entry. Okay, so we have the trade in the system. Entry 66.95.5 with a stop at 66.84, target 166.07, target to 67.54.5. Okay, and we are all set. Okay, and the trade is in the system. Now, second case. So what if it doesn't come to our green UFO and it rallies up and reaches the red UFO? Well, if that's the case, we're gonna short. Okay, and therefore, now the plan for the trade would not be to enter long, stop and target the way we said. Okay, I'm gonna just leave it there. The plan would be to kind of reverse it. Okay, kind of reverse it, because remember, those red UFOs had fibs lining up as well, right? So we're gonna have a stop above that red UFO, okay, which is 67.78.25. I'm going to add one tick, so it's 0.50. We're going to have an entry. Okay, enter short at, and I'm going to discuss this in a minute. Then we'll have a safety target located at a certain point that we need to discuss. And finally, we'll have a final target, okay, located at a certain point that we also need to discuss. So basically, I took what we did before and I'm just inverting it. I'm totally reversing the sequence of events. Okay, so I'm going to make this magenta color. So you guys know that the magenta color represents shorting, and I'm going to make all of these blue color. So you guys know the blue color represents going long. Okay, so in case you are taking a screenshot of the screen or something, you can use this as a reference. Okay. So now, let's talk about entering short, because remember, we have fibs. Earlier here, I said I don't want to miss the trade, and I was going to use the top of the rectangle. Ideally, you use the round circle, right? But I said I was not going to do that. I was going to use the top of the rectangle not to miss the trade. But in this case, the issue is that I have two UFOs overlapping each other, and if I have my entry in the bottom part of the bottom top is above the top of the top rectangle, then obviously, because I got two UFOs in one hand, I got more unfilled orders, which is probabilities in my favor. But in the other hand, I also have more risk, understanding by risk the distance from the entry to the stop. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to be a little sensitive to that. And in this case, instead of the dotted line, I'm going to use the inner circle, okay, the inner circle of the bottom UFO, or the dotted line of the top UFO, right? Now, using the dotted line of the top UFO would be fantastic, but I may miss the trade because the market may come to the of the bottom UFO, turn, fall, reach the target, but you miss the trade because you were waiting to sell short where the dotted line in the middle is, right? And I personally do not appreciate missing trades. And it depends. Some of you may have a different trading personality, and it's okay. But because my approach to trading is actually to trade, meaning I don't appreciate missing trades, I'm just gonna go for the bottom circle, the inside bottom circle, as my entry to lower a little bit my risk, even though my risk would be quite wide in this case. But I also know I have more probabilities because I got two UFOs instead of one. So 67.54.50 is going to be my entry. So 67.54.50 54.50. Is it 54 or 64? I got confused. Yeah, I got it right. 67.54.5 is going to be my entry. Now, talking about risk, the distance between 67.78.5 and 67.54.5, that distance is 24 points. That's so if I want to have a safety target out at, at 1 to 1, I'm going to have to place my target located 24 points below 54.5, which is 3.5. In other words, my safety target would be 67.30.5. That would be my safety target. And the 66.92.00, which is the below darker circle inside the UFO. That's the plan. So what am I going to do? Same story. I'm going to look for 67.54. Okay. $67.54. Oh, I went way too far. $67.54, right there. Which is where I have my target from the other trade. And now on top of that, I'm gonna get here on the red column, and I'm gonna control in my keyboard and click, okay, to get short with 2 contracts, okay? So now I'm gonna be selling, it says selling 3 because one of the sell is my exit, 2 of my sales is my entry. I got my stop above for 2 contracts, and I got my 2 targets below, right? So let's adjust the stop. So we said we want the stop to be 78.5. Okay. So Mr. Stop, move up. Mr. Stop, we need you a little higher. Okay, and I'm gonna use chart trading to save a little time with the dragging for the following targets, okay? So 78.5. It's right there. Here is my stop, okay? So I got my entry and my stop, then my safety target. Oh, yeah, my safety target. So again, let's activate chart trading. Well, actually, it's gonna be a little tricky here to activate chart trading. And the market is falling hard now, so we may get to our green UFO. That would be great. Let's go ahead and move. Just gonna move those targets manually for a little bit first because I got too many of the order lines on the chart together, and I'm concerned that if I drag the lines with chart trading, I may drag the wrong lines. Okay, so I'm just gonna move these together a little bit. And as I have moved it further, then I'll be happy. Okay, got it. So now it's clear that those 2 lines on my chart are my targets. Okay, so I'm gonna come back here, right-click chart trading. Okay, and now I'm gonna move my final target here, which is 60. Here we go, 66.92. Yes. So I got my final target at 66.92, and then my safety target, I need to be 60.30. Oh, sorry. So 60.30.5, 67.30.5, 67.30.5. Sometimes it's difficult to be precise enough with your mouse, so I'm just going to leave it there at 67.30.25, and now I'm just going to go ahead and readjust it manually using the matrix. I just need to move that little B box from 67 to 67.30.5, and that would do it. And now I am all set with these trades. I have a setup to go long. I have a setup to go short. This is using the UFOs, of course, but on top of that, we had done our analysis with Fibs, making the Fibs lining up with the UFOs. And now, to repeat myself, what we have produced is a setup and a scenario where you are utilizing on-field orders already available in the market and also relying on the potential for new on-field orders to enter the market after you enter the trade. Why? Because computers trade Fibs. And therefore, those numbers that we have selected could be relevant because computers may add orders in the market after you have entered your own trade. And obviously, if all of the above is true, this would help your trade. If all of the above was not to be the case, both of the trades that we have put in place have stops. And therefore, if we end up wrong, we will lose little. And if we end up being right, we will make more. And by doing that as a trader, well, that's how you grow your account. You have the probabilities, you have lesser risk, you have more reward, and that's how you grow your accounts, okay? So anyway, guys, we have surpassed by 11 minutes the time at which we are supposed to conclude the session today. So obviously, a pleasure for me to even extend it more, but at the same time, we need to be respectful of your time too. So we leave those orders in the system. If you guys want to experience with those trades as well, you could certainly leave the orders in your system as well. You obviously have to decide if you want this to be real capital or paper money, and that is your decision as well as your responsibility, obviously. But we have it as well ourselves, and we are ready. And we could comment on this further in our future in our next session. Okay. So talking about the next session, if you look at the get together here on our website. Okay, the next session will be for longer term, okay, not for short term, for longer term, and it will take place on Thursday. So I will see you in a couple of days from now. Pay attention, please. The time will be different, okay? The time will be different. It'll be 1 p.m. U.S. Eastern time, and if you are in a different time zone, just make sure you do the math, because most of the sessions we do at 9 in the morning, US time, New York time, but the one on Thursday will be a different time. Okay, so you could certainly watch the recording, that's for sure, but I guess it's more fun when we are live together. Okay, guys, so see you soon. This was a good session for you guys. Send us your feedback, and we'll keep working towards the goal of supporting you and help you to not only to succeed, but also to remain successful as a trader. The key is consistency, and consistency doesn't mean 1 day, 1 week. Consistency means all the time. So we'll be working towards that goal all together. Okay, guys? Talk to you soon, my friends. A pleasure to be here. Bye-bye. See you on Thursday.